Hello and welcome to episode 110 of the Boot Nerds podcast. I almost said 1010. JayMike, what's going on?
That would be a lot of episodes, my man. As usual, things are pretty good in Denmark. New boots dripping out. I like that. Big tournament coming up this summer. It's around the corner. United are finishing in Europe. It's on, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Lots of exciting stuff going on. Finally have some summer-like weather.
Okay, wow.
At least by Canadian standards. So I'm very happy about that. I'm in a good mood.
That's good. I mean, for now, knowing Canada and the weather over there, it's gonna change like that, and you're gonna have snow up to here next week. But hey, then you can take the truck out. That's also fun. But then again, you would have driven that for the entire year up until this point. So yeah. That's how it goes. Also, how crazy is it that we made 110 episodes of the Boot Nerds podcast?
It's a lot. I was just thinking, would you say it feels like we've made that many of these?
No.
Because it really doesn't.
No, it feels like, I would say maybe 50, 60-ish.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, it's so, and still the what's even crazy is that you guys are still with us after 110 episodes. It's just basically two girls talking over drinks as per usual, and we've done that for, I guess, 110 weeks now. That's 2 years. Mm-hmm. What?
Crazy.
Anyways, as always, thank you so much for the support. If you are a supporter and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go and do that. And if you like the content, of course, make sure to leave a like on the video. That helps us a lot in getting discovered out there so more people can find the Boot Nerds podcast. Josh, what we're going to talk about today is basically all Adidas. They have dropped this hybrid Frankenstein PredCopX. We're going to touch upon that. Very, very exciting boot. I've tried it. You probably haven't yet?
Not yet.
But I hope for your sake you're gonna. And then we're gonna talk about the Adidas game mode and find out what on earth is up and down with the game mode, the sustain and love mode, which are the subcategories. We're gonna talk about that after, and then of course we have all our questions, our answers, Q&A section coming up as well. And of course, if you have any questions that you'd like us to answer in the next couple of episodes, you can leave them in the comment section right down below. That was a lot of intro words. What you have probably come to see is Josh take out his frustrations on this bad boy, because it is also pink, and no one asked for this either. Josh, lay it down for me. What do you think?
Okay. Oh, look, I think we can mostly agree it's not the best colorway in the world. But the concept of it, I like. I like seeing experimental things in the football boot world, and just the idea of let's take all our current models and combine them into one football boot. I love that idea, as silly as it is. Again, they did it not that long ago with that mashup Predator model. Can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
The Archives, that's what it was. And I thought that was like, wow, I can't believe they actually made that. And this is with all their modern stuff. To me, it's a really cool concept. Again, was anybody asking for this? Probably not.
Nope.
But just based on the ambitiousness of it, I like it.
I totally agree. I think I agree with you when you say that the colorway is probably not the best. It was only recently that it dawned on me that this is, of course, related to the Uniforia ball, because we got the pink, we got that lime green, and we got the blue, which are the colors on the Uniforia ball. So it kind of makes sense, but then again, why these colors? You had the full color palette in the entire world. Why not do something that actually looks classy? And I know I complain about it a lot in my Unisport video as well. I just don't understand why you have such, and this is a very good boot, you have such a good boot, and you just make this, to me, it just looks random. And it looks a little bit like a mess. And I just can't believe that we here have a product, and I'll get into why it is so good later, but we have a product that is so close to being everything you could probably ask for if you can't really decide between Adidas's boots. And then they go and make it this color. Look, if this boot I think, appeals to the aficionados, to the people who want that little extra something and who are okay paying for said little extra something. And then you give those people who are usually, I'm assuming here, but I would assume that those people would usually go for slightly more toned down or classy traditional colorways. Something that looks like it actually works together. I don't feel this falls under that category. what would you say? I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Uniforia, cool, I get it. But nah, I'm gonna pass on it.
I agree with you. And it's the same thing that I said when we talked about the purple and pink Copa Prime Knit things, right? Like the market for that is already much smaller than the average football boot, especially given the premium in the retail price. And then you look at how many people are interested in a Copa Mundial in 2021, that group gets even smaller. So you make it in a colorway that that group of people is probably not going to be into. And this is, granted, much more subtle. It's still a black-based colorway with a white accent. But I still think there's a fair amount of people in that category that are just not into pink boots. And I guess you could change the laces by going to sr4ulaces.com and get some black ones or something like that. And it would tone it down a little bit, sr4ulaces.com, by the way. But for the most part, like
that is the most shameless plug I've heard. I mean, I've heard a lot of shameless plugs, but that one was brilliant. Look, I'm just gonna say that if that is to save the boot, SR4 laces will have to make a lot of extra like replacement elements, the rubber fins, all that. The tongue. It's just a mess. I'm so sorry, editors. I get the idea, but it just doesn't work for me. I might be old and grumpy, but.
And look, I kind of understand them wanting to show off the different elements, and it looks like they've kind of separated them by color, which doesn't make for the most aesthetically pleasing design. I think the silhouette of this boot is actually much nicer than the colorway would suggest. But as a concept, Jay, what do you think of this football boot?
Man, this is a great concept. Ever since I heard it for the first time, it's been a while. I was like, okay, this can either be absolutely spectacularly good, or it will fail just as spectacularly. And I think we've landed on the spectacularly good thing, because they have taken, as you might know if you've already seen the Unisport video, they've taken the upper from the Copa Sense 0.1, which means they've taken the tongue and the heel pods, and of course the leather. And I don't know what they've done to the leather, but this leather is stupidly soft. It's so soft that when I got it out of the box and into my hands, I was like, wow, is this a Copa? What have they done? And clearly it's something with the coating, and you don't have those like big thick stripes and all that stuff, but it's just so soft and pliable. And, it takes me up there with the Dragon Predator 20 and some of the best, well, at least the softest leather uppers we've had on Adidas boots for as long as I can remember. I mean, it's seriously soft. Okay, the leather area is not that big, but it's okay. It feels really comfortable. Then on top of that, you get the SL rubber fins. In other words, you get what people, you and I have been screaming for ages. Give us a leather Predator low cut with laces. This is more or less it. I mean, it's the closest thing. And of course, you get the X tooling, which is just like spectacular. Okay, takes a little bit of getting used to, because you get that raised toe, and if you're used to a Pred, then it has a relatively low pointy toe box. Fair play, but as a boot, it's not supposed to be perfect, but it's supposed to be very, very good on paper and just, be more than the sum of its parts. And I actually reckon that it is. And that's why the colorway thing makes me so disappointed, because I would so really love to rock these on a regular basis. And I just don't think I'm gonna, because I'm 32 and this is just too much.
See, for me, I think when I saw the concept, I was questioning, who is this for? Because if you take the X, you take the Copa, and you take the Predator, I think there's certain things about all of those boots that you might want from the other options within the Adi line. But I think you said it best. I think that this is a football boot that appeals mostly to somebody that's going to be into the current Predator series. Because again, the complaint I think a lot of people have had, or the wish list people have had, is that it needs a leather upper. You're getting that with this boot. You need a lacing system. You're getting that with this boot. You need a low cut design. You're getting that. You're getting a standalone tongue, which I personally prefer over a one-piece upper when you're talking about a leather Predator model. So I like that they've done that there. The heel pods, I do want to ask you about that because I've yet to try the boots in person. Have they maintained the same heel, the Sense pods as the Copa 20, no, not Copa, Sense Point one, sorry.
I just want to see your face for this. Yes, they have. I know they haven't. I was hoping you would be disappointed, but yes, they have because they're the same foam pods, but they haven't gotten that flat and hard and like plasticky coating on top, which means that it's just like this suede like material and foam pods. And now that they made that change, they're actually comfortable, which is a weird feeling for me, wearing the Sense Point one, which I don't find that comfortable with the Sense pods. And that's the thing. Like this is, to me, the base of the boot is what the Copa Sense Point one should have been. If it had been that boot, it would be very, very, very good, even without the X tooling and the rubber elements. So that's also the thing. That's a little bit weird, but hey, I'm not going to complain. The only thing I'm going to complain about is that they don't technically make these in my size. They make it down to a UK 7, and I am optimally a UK 6, 6.5 in these. So yeah, way to go. But carry on.
Yeah, to me, look, and then you take the X tooling, which is, in my opinion, it's the most technically advanced sole plate on the market right now. And I think if there's any sole plate that's going to offer some kind of legitimate performance enhancement, I think it's this one with the Carbitex insert. I think the amount of potential for energy return is significant here. Yeah. And it does feel different than everything else that's out there right now. And I think, again, if we're talking about like longtime Predator fans, they've been asking for something that's a little bit more aggressive, like the Predator stud patterns used to be. And you're once again getting that with this mashup. And again, I have to applaud Adi for even being able to take all three of their boots and combine them into one football boot that actually makes sense. I was thinking, okay, could Nike do this? And I don't think they could. Could Puma do this? No, not really. There's not enough difference between the future. No, like they've done a really good job, all things considered, regardless of whether or not you think the colorway is good or bad.
I agree. And the whole Nike and Puma thing, I actually hadn't thought about it. And you're completely right. Imagine an Ultra with a Fusion Fit band on. That would just be super weird.
Wouldn't make any sense.
But yeah, you're right. And that's the thing. They've taken the elements that make each of their silos worth wearing, and they combined them. So they've taken all the USPs and they've actually mastered into something where they work well together. So really, really a fantastic product. And again, if only the colorway had been better, I would have really gone hard on these.
This is one that I'm very excited to try out. And again, not having tried them yet, I don't want to make any bold claims, Fair enough. On paper, this could be Adi's Flyknit Ultra, where it's a limited edition boot that a lot of people agree is actually better than anything that's currently available. But because it's limited, you won't be able to get it, at least for very long. So we'll see.
And also, hopefully, the Flyknit Ultra.
I would love to see this in more colorways because I know that they've gone crazy with all the remake stuff. So there's hope for more colorways at the very least.
They should make some at least. That's all I'm gonna say. But obviously you haven't tried them, but hearing and I don't know how much you take my words for like gospel, but how would you rate these if you have to?
I'm gonna rate them as a concept, and I think as a concept, it's a 9 out of 10. I really like what they've done.
I think you're going to up that to a 9.5 out of 10 once you've worn them. I agree, it's a 9.5 out of 10. I can kind of look past the colorway, and then again, I can't. And that's a shame. like if they had nailed this colorway, it would have been a solid 10 out of 10 and potentially the boot of the year for me. It is what it is.
That good.
Now,
yeah, wow.
Adidas also released their so-called game mode boots, which are these. This is the sustain mode alongside with this white bad boy. And they also have the love mode, which, of course, puts focus and emphasis on the whole LGBTQI and equality and openness and basically accepting that people are who they are and we should. It feels stupid to say that there are people out there who don't just accept people for who they are, but I think it's nice that Adi put a lot of emphasis on this and then just make it, puts it in people's face and makes it a topic that's just natural to talk about. I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. But the boots are 100 euros, which is a great price point. And they, these particular models have been made with a knitted upper. It's basically a mesh knit, what it feels like. Think the tongue piece, the sock piece on the X16 and X17 pluses. So kind of like that knit, and that just goes throughout the entire upper, meaning that they are really soft. They are relatively wide. You can see on the outsole, and I think for all intents and purposes, they're going to be football boots that a lot of people would feel okay in. But they're also 100 euros. And I think it kind of shines too. So this, for me, will have to go in and kind of fight against Adi's 0.3 boots that are usually, 85, 90 euros. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, yeah, they look cool and all. And it's a great thing that they are, they're made with these prime green materials. So they are 50% sustainable, these sustainable boots. That's a great thing, and I applaud that. I'm fully for that. I just don't feel that the boots are... They don't do it for me in terms of making me choose these over the other takedowns. I mean, I could easily wear these instead of the other takedowns, but then what's the point? What separates these from the other takedowns? Do you know what I mean? And I would be a little bit afraid if these are going to go in and cannibalize that price point for Adidas, which is, of course, very popular. I'm not going to hate on them. I think the concept is actually very good. Make this super accessible boot that just have like clean, simple designs that very, just plug and play. Everyone can go and wear these. They don't have to worry too much about durability and all. But if the potential here is just so big, like make them a 100 euro boot that maybe has the quality of a 150, 170 euro boot. And then we'd be talking. Like that, offer something completely unique in terms of value for money. That is where these could really make a big difference. What are you saying?
I agree with you. I think the emphasis should have been more on value for money. And look, I've not tried these boots yet, so I don't want to pass any judgment on how they actually feel or perform or anything like that. But I did read the press release, and the press release really highlights how football boots have become about technology and performance, and that's where all the emphasis has been. And the concept of these game mode boots is for more or less the casual footballer who's not as interested in that. They wanted to make something, you use the word accessible, and affordable. So that's the idea behind these, and they're doing a lot of storytelling with the sustain mode and the love mode one, where you have the recycled materials for the sustain mode, and then the love mode one is more so specific to the colorway. But then they're $100. And my first impression of the boot, just based on what it is on paper, is like, wow, that looks like it should be an $80 takedown model, not a $100 football boot. And it's a tricky thing, because I think the word accessibility, while it sounds great in a story, like what's not accessible about other Adi takedown models right now? Like I don't quite understand the logic in that, and I just feel like it's one of those things where it's more about the storytelling than it is about the football boots, which is great for people that really like that. But I always look at football boots, and I always review football boots from a consumer's perspective. Are you getting what you pay for here? And I feel like in this situation, you're paying a lot more for this cool story than you are for an actually good product that's worth the amount of money you're paying for. So I don't like to use the word scam. I think that's a terrible word to use here. But I feel like this is a little bit of trickery on Adidas's part in, this is for the casual players who don't care and who aren't going to do any research. This is the boot for you, $100. This is a great deal. When in reality, is it really that good of a deal? That's for me where I don't like a little bit of deception here in the way that this has been introduced to the market.
Okay, fair enough. I think I haven't played in these yet. I only have these boots that are too big for me. So I can't really fully pass judgment on them yet fairly. But I think, from what I can tell in hand, they're solid boots. I mean, they feel very comfortable. The material as it is for the price is good. And I think they're going to feel very nice, especially for the casual footballers who might not know. Don't get me wrong here, but what they're looking for, they feel that it's comfortable. The tooling's very simple, gives you a little bit of grip as far as I can tell, and I think it's going to be such a nice boot to get introduced to the world of football boots. And then the fact that they look, quite simple and clean, I get it. I definitely get it, and I'm not going to hate on these again because I actually think that they are value for money. Because they are solid for €100. Cool. But they just maybe could have been so much more, if you get me. That's where I'm like a little, because these have come in and been an actual, alternative to some of the €150, €170 boots. Maybe, dare I say, Puma's €200 boots. Like, we would be talking something that everyone, entry-level players, but also people who care a little bit about football boots would actually be looking to. That's where we would be talking like sensational value for money. That's where they could really make a push for the game mode. It might not be possible from like a money-making point of view. I don't know that. So would I be happy to, if I was just a casual player, would I be happy to pay $100 and actually think that I got a good deal? I probably would, yeah. They're not bad. They just could have been a little bit more. Yeah,
and look, I don't have a problem with the existence of this product. I don't love how it's been presented, because they present it as this football boot offering for casual players who are looking to get a decent football boot for the amount of money they're spending. And looks aside, because I think they look cool. That's a fair thing to say, but everyone's have their opinion on that. If I was a casual footballer, had no knowledge of football boots and really didn't care that much, I'm still going to go to the store. I'm still going to go online. And if I really want an Adi boot, I'm going to go from low to high, and I'm going to notice all these 0.3 models that are available between $70 and $90 and say, oh, you know what? Maybe that's what I want, rather than spending $100 on this game mode accessible, affordable option. Like, I think you said it best, where is Adi really looking to offer something accessible, or are they clearly just trying to offer something at a price point that doesn't really exist right now? Because there's really nothing that retails for $100.
Apart from the Nike Premier 2, and people coming into the game aren't going to buy that.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably the point. Because, people who are new to football and who just are casually looking for a football boot, if they don't know they don't know anything about boots. So why would they choose these that are also built around a story and built around being sustainable, which is fantastic. You have to applaud Adidas for that. But if they don't know, they just have two boots in front of them, which is the more expensive and which is the cheaper one. That's the problem. So yeah, then again, you can be the devil's advocate and say, okay, even if they were fantastic, like outstanding value for money, would people not knowing then buy it? I don't think they would.
Yeah. I don't understand presenting something as being more accessible for casual players when you offer within your current lines that are apparently too tech forward and intimidating for casual players that are less expensive. Like, these should be, if the idea is accessibility and like,
to be fair, that was me
casuals.
who said accessible, right? But
Yeah. No, I understand, but it's a good word to use because it's effectively what they're implying, right? I think they should be less than the 0.3 takedown models, not more.
Or at least the same.
Given the story that they've presented, or the same price, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
No.
But when they're more expensive now, because like I'll be honest, Jay, like I saw this boot and I thought, wow, that kind of looks a lot like the Nemesis 17.3 takedown model from 4 years ago, except they're $20 more expensive. Like that's what immediately popped in my head, and that's not necessarily a terrible thing. We see a lot of takedown models are kind of this variations of the same thing over the years. There's more emphasis on story than on product, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. As a football boot enthusiast.
But maybe you and I
these are clearly not for me.
No.
These are not made for us.
And that's the thing. And again, I think that if you just put these on someone who just play football on a casual basis, just pick up football, go out with the friends and play on whatever surface, they might love them and they might think they're getting great value for money and they're sustainable. And maybe we're just too we're being snobbish here. We're not the right people to talk about these. That's also definitely a possibility because I want to see Adi do more of this. I think it's a great concept. I think there are good possibilities here. And the fact that it's trending more and more towards being sustainable is obviously something we need to see more of from every brand. So yeah, game mode. Guys, let us know what you think about the game mode boots and the whole concept in the comment section right down below. I realize you're probably also not the right people because you're also boot nerds. But let's see if we can come to some sort of boot nerd snobby consensus in the comment section right down below. With that said, Josh, let's jump to some of the questions that we have had in the previous episodes. We have one from Only Lars. Which I had a good laugh about. I'm holding my old Vapor 10s in my hands and thinking they should bring back every boot that I had. The purple silver colorway is the best. They should bring back a remake of that colorway. And then he said in another question that they basically should bring back all the boots from 2020. And I thought, Only Lars is not a bad idea. If you could tell a brand, look, I have all these boots, me, Jay, that I want you to bring back. Can you please do it? And they did it. That'd be kind of phenomenal. But just to manage expectations, Only Lars, I don't think that Nike are going to bring back the full range of boots from 2014, or even bring back the boots. Here's an idea: go to eBay, find the model code in the boots. Go to eBay, search it up, and see if you can find it, and then buy it. Because I don't think it's going to happen. Sorry. I hate to be that guy, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, remaking old boots one-to-one is something that is just, I think a lot of brands are reluctant to do. And if they do it, expect to pay a significant amount of money, i.e. $350 for a Predator Accelerator remake. That's what we've come to expect. With that said, I think colorway remakes on modern boots, especially Mercurials, is basically a gold mine for Nike.
Yeah, it's free money.
Like they could make anything between Vapor 11 all the way to Vapor 1. Colorway remakes it's almost a guaranteed sellout.
Oh, absolutely.
Because people love them so much.
Just have basically a seasonal future DNA drop.
Yeah. It's people are suckers for boots that they had in their childhood.
That they grew up with.
I just made a video talking about T90 Laser 2s, and I had such a good time.
Of course you did.
Just talking about them and just look. It just, you know what? Like, it's cool.
I love how you get a kick out just talking about them. It's not like playing with them. We're talking about them. It's fantastic.
I love them. Like I have so many good memories associated to stuff like that. So
nerd.
I know I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, it's as you said, it's a money making machine. A seasonal future DNA drops. Here's a free idea, Nike, and of course we'll take the mandatory 10% because it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Only Lars will get 10% as well, just so he can go and buy it like a stack of Vapor 10s. Elton Toledo, question. Do you think Nike will ever bring back Kangalite. That material was so comfortable and padded, it would be nice to have Mercs or Jempos made out of Kangalite. Would you guys agree? What do you think? Are they gonna?
Yeah, I would like to see it come back. I think I've said this on the podcast at least 10 times at this point. I think the CTR 360 line should come back. I think that is the one thing that Nike haven't tried. They kind of did a little bit of a T90 comeback attempt with the Phantom Venom, and as great as the boots were from a sales perspective, people did not respond all that well, which is why it no longer exists. Phantom GT does not seem to be catching on either, so I think that is probably the next in line to see some form of a complete replacement. And I think CTR 360, a control boot with genuinely something unique about it in Kangalite and memory foam inserts. Nobody's really doing that right now. I think that could be interesting because the Phantom GT for me, you can say it's a dull version of a Mercurial, but ultimately I think you look at it and say, oh, it's another sock boot in a world of sock boots. You know, like there's nothing about it that really stands out. And there's a lot of people that don't even like how it looks.
The Mercurial.
Hey, like what?
Wow, that is the ultimate insult, man. But look, I have also said bring back the CTIs. I just thought about it the other day, and were they that great? I mean, yes, they were nice boots, but I don't remember thinking back then, oh, these are just all-time great boots. I mean, the first ones were kind of junky. I don't want those back. The twos were cool, and the threes were probably the best. But then again, would I really want to wear the threes? And I think, yeah, maybe as a concept, cool. I think that they're not going to bring back Kangalite. And obviously, I know a lot of stuff. But personally, I don't think they're going to bring back Kangalite because, that material is of the past. I think they can maybe bring something similar to Kangalite. Obviously, they started out back in the days with KNG 100 and KNG 75s on the takedowns, on the Mercurials, obviously. So if they had like a, synthetic leather 0.3 Mark III, that would be cool to see. But I think we got to let Kangalite go because it was a nice material, but compared to, let's say, Hybrid Touch, I'd probably go with Hybrid Touch. Felt better as a synthetic leather. So I don't think they're going to bring it back. They're so focused on innovation that if they were to bring back synthetic leather, it would probably be as a new, much improved material. It's just a guess, though.
Yeah, you're right. Nike's typically not a brand to go backwards, but then you look at the Phantom GT and it seems like it's a mishmash of recycled things that they've presented as new. So you never know with them.
Man, you really don't like the GTs anymore, do you? Well, we'll have that discussion another day. I think it's solid. Anyway, Jillery, but I want to buy a Nike ID Vapor. Is it a bad idea? Is it an idea to just buy it now or wait a few months to see if there's any new designs or colors? And here Jilly, is a bit of advice from your Uncle Jay. Look, life is about pulling the trigger and then accepting that you can't have it all. So if you really want them now and you like the options that you have, go and buy it. Just promise me that you don't sit around and get sad because something else comes out. There's always something newer and better, and tomorrow there will be something even newer and shinier and better. So finding a place within yourself where you can be happy with what you have, that's a good place to go to. That was a little bit deep. I do apologize for that, but you can always
that was legit good life advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. That's not even related to just football boots. That's almost anything.
Because there's always going to be a new iPhone or a new car or, a new pair of foot. There's always going to be another. We have a saying in Danish that probably sounds really stupid in English. But there's always going to be another taxi and another girl. And it's a bad translation. What are those? What would they call these? Like the trams. There's always going to be another tram and another girl that you can always jump on something new. You can always find a new girl. You can always find something that's shinier, newer, and better. I'm rambling. This is terrible, but save me, man.
I wanted to see where you were going to go.
Nowhere.
You started off so strong, and then you just kind of fell off a cliff.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Neuronymous, Josh, Mr. Luares, I'll take the credit for that. The game may have been Primal Fury. And I think we established that in the last. You were talking about a PS1 game with dinosaurs, Primal Fury.
Yeah, I think it was Primal Rage.
Primal Rage, yeah, okay, yeah. Anyway. Also, imagine a Puma King Platinum made with rainbow-dyed stripes, like the band in the future. It would have been an easy 10 out of 10 for me. As it is, Puma skipped it and Adidas earned the win for the best Euro pack. But just imagine in the foam stripe, or even like the outline of the foam stripe, you know, in all the stitches, having those, it would be a nightmare to do. Really cool. Yeah,
it would have been sweet.
Anyways, I am Guardiola. Hi, Pep. Thanks for watching. Hi, guys. As you might have known, we are about a couple of months away from the new Phantom GT2. Do you feel that this will be the best performing Nike boot in their lineup, arguably better than the new Mercurial? And how do you think they might make it different, and what should they add to it? Probably a striking element, I think. Expectations are high, given that they kind of messed up the current gen. Is that you, Josh? I'm saving my money to buy the Phantom GT2 because Nike should have fixed everything that was wrong with the current gen, and especially the heel. Okay. What do you think Nike should do if they do a GT2? Like, what would you change?
I don't know where they build on what they have, to be honest with you. And I've seen some pros training in blackouts of what is rumored to be the next Phantom, and I have a really hard time figuring out what they actually changed. If they change anything. Like, it just looks to me like a variation of the same thing. So beyond ditching the Flyknit upper and going for something else, I just feel like all they could realistically do is maybe modify that lacing system, tweak the shape ever so slightly, and just make it a better fitting football boot, because I think that's maybe where it's a little bit lacking. Other than that, there's not much to do with that concept. It's a sock boot with texture on the upper.
Yeah, you're right.
That's about it.
You're right. And it would... And that's the thing, how much can they really change before it kind of defeats the purpose of the generative texture, which is, after all, what the boot is based around. Yeah, I would probably, maybe it's too soon to ditch the silo altogether, but maybe it's time for something that isn't Phantom. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why Nike, like, okay, Hypervenom runs its course. Then they do this Phantom Vision, Phantom Venom thing. So they maintain Phantom. They keep a Venom as part of it. And then they're stuck on this Phantom thing. I don't think that there's any real value to it anymore. It's too confusing. Well, something new is warranted at this point.
Yeah, they're not bad football boots, I think. But again, it's just like, how on earth are they going to, they just need something stronger to really compete with the Mercurials. And maybe there isn't a boot that can really compete with the Mercurials, but then I would probably go a little further from the Mercurials, and maybe bringing back something CTR 360-esque is not a bad idea. I just don't know how to do it in a 2021 setting. Like,
for me, if we want to talk about the issue with the Phantom GT, it's not so much the boot itself, it's what it's competing against.
Exactly.
Because if you put it in the control category, I think the Predator is a much more exciting concept in terms of what it offers from a tech perspective. Yep. And then if you want to consider the Puma Future Z as a control boot as well, again, I think that is a football boot with something more unique about it. The distinctive element of the Phantom GT is the generative texture, but in pictures that it does not come across at all. You can't even tell that it's a textured football boot. And realistically, when you're playing in them, I don't think the texture has all that much impact anyways.
I think I definitely feel it when I play, and I feel that there's more texture than on a Mercurial, but it's that strong enough to battle the reputation that the Mercurial and the Predator has. And I'm just not sure about that. It's
too subtle for 2021.
Probably.
Like, if aside from maybe the Mercurial, which I think is very visually impactful at the moment, like, I think every boot that's done well over the last decade has had some kind of really significant standout feature that you can just see. And I think that the generative texture on the Phantom GT is too subtle to appeal to people, to make them say, I want a Phantom GT over every other football boot that I could find.
But then they make it, hypothetically, like more accentuated. And then we all complain that it's, oh, yeah, well, this Predator clone. Oh. I mean, it's also like it's a tough thing for Nike. What on earth are they going to do? Like, because they have to mature. You can't, compete with the Mercurial, whether you're an Adi or a Nike boot. It's just not possible. So it's always going to be, it's going to have the Mercurial's always going to have the head start. Maybe it should set itself a bit more apart and be a bit more unique. That's all I'm saying. Because I think they're good football boots, to be honest.
And look, they are good football boots. That's the thing. And I hate to say, we feel bad for Nike, because I definitely don't feel bad for them. Like they have been industry leaders in the football boot category for quite some time now. And maybe they've slipped a little bit in the last couple of years outside of the Mercurial range. But if you just look back at the history of Nike's most iconic football boots, they've all had something about them that was just distinctively different than anything else available at the time. And the Phantom GT just did not do that. They made a solid product, but there's nothing distinctive about it.
Sure.
And that's where I think the popularity has really struggled for that product.
Right. Let's see where they go. Let's see where they go with it. Anthony Riccio, can you use a leather foot cream on my Puma Ultra 1.2 leather boots?
I would not recommend using leather food on non-leather boots.
But it's a Puma Ultra 1.2 leather. It's a
leather. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that.
Yeah. Leather food on leather boots. Don't put leather food on non-leather boots.
Don't put. Yeah. No, not necessary.
Yeah, those were the questions for today. So, guys, if you have any other questions for episode 111 of the Boot Nerds podcast,
110.
This is 110. So if you have any for 111, the next episode.
Oh, sorry. My bad. I'm not listening.
That's good to know. If you have any for the next episode of the Boot Nerds podcast, i.e. not this episode, let us know in the comment section right down below, and we will answer them in the next episode. 111 of the Boot Nerds podcast. Thank you very much, Josh. Also, if you have enjoyed the content today, leave us a like on the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking the white bubble in the middle of the screen, and also go and check out what we're doing on our separate channels, SR4U and Unisport. And with those words, I have been JayMike, and I approve this message, and we need to get you a list of, come on.
We'll see you in episode 111.
At least you heard that. Leather. Don't use leather food on.
I fell apart. At the end of this podcast. Thanks for watching.
I would like to know what you were thinking about, but that's for another video. Great stuff.